Simula muna tayo doon sa mixed o game.
Okay, so what about yung premise ng yung under the economic na ano ba, madaming kung saan mag-start edit mo na lang. Kailan ba ako nag-worry about the economy, di ba? Yung pinaka-current lang, di ba, na when you say that the US has more debt bigger debt than GDP, that's the latest, di ba? Pero kailan nag-start? Tagal na, it's been years na kailan yung inflationary yung nangyayari sa mundo, no? So ikaw, like ako personally, nakikita ko yung value ng pera ko, less and less yung nabibili ko with money. And hindi lang siya cyclical na dahil lang sa monetary policy ng US na biglang okay, binabaan nila yung interest rates tapos biglang tumaas yung inflation. Diba kasi madaming money supply. Hindi na eh. Talagang hindi na kontrolado ng Fed. Diba? Parang madaming factors na wala nang nakaka-control dati yung lang si Alan Greenspan lang eh. Diba? Wala na tayo doon. Hindi na nila alam gagawin nila lalo na.
Kahit sila, admitted sila.
Kahit si Trump, hindi niya alam. Hindi niya alam. Pati yung Fed ng US, yung mga tao, yung mga central bank sa Europe, diba? Sa Brussels, hindi rin na alam gagawin. Hindi Russia, diba? May mga, and with everything new na hindi ko rin naintindihan, things like Bitcoin, things like diba? Tapos ngayon nakikita mo sabay yung gold umaakyat with silver, umaakyat with, diba? May yung mga indicators na the word is dramatic collapse.
Yes,
diba? Dramatic siya, pero there's no other word. And then, so sa akin, kalat yung yung thought. Wala akong tamang thought process.
Hindi, yung
sa Philippines,
sa
from the Philippine setting, yun yung global. No? Sa Philippines, alam naman natin na wala tayong plans. Wala tayong strategic. Diba? Wala tayong plans kasi hindi na naman natin na yung current leadership natin walang pagkakaintindi din.
Tama.
And kahit may nakaintindi, pero I doubt it. So there's no understanding, no? There's no strategy, there's no anything to mitigate. Among the mahirap, lalo na, and kahit na yung middle class, and I suspect kahit yung mga mayayaman. Kasi the idea of a collapse is parang iba siya eh. Namatay na yung nakaraan yung mga taong dumanas ng World War II eh.
Tama.
So hindi na natin, it's really the history buffs eh. Guys like you, guys like me. Diba, kasi tayo, mahilig tayo sa history. So parang may tayo na, putay na, diba? Ako, I read the Grapes of Wrath, diba?
Tama.
Di ako maniwala, putay na pwede mangyari ito, Grapes of Wrath. Diba? Tapos, so I know na it happened.
Yes.
I know it can happen again.
Yes.
Diba, when the banks get too greedy, diba na when they try to take over everything, all the assets, and i-consolidate nila yung mga small independent farm, and then they go to monocropping, diba? Kasi before, diba na yung sa Grapes of Wrath, yung mga small farms nawala eh, tapos naging malalaking nagiging malaking monoculture. So it's happening again, no? So ako naman sa Philippines, it's the same thing is happening. For the most part, agriculture has been declining in my lifetime. Diba yung economy natin naging service sector na, no? Kasi hindi naman tayo naging talagang industrial eh. Na-forgo natin yung industrialization, nag-move on tayo sa which is another story kasi nga wala tayong national na strategy on industrialization na parang we should focus on this, focus on that, sa competitive advantage wala tayo nun kasi wala tayong continuity.
Yeah.
So unlike Japan na merong overall like Ministry of Trade and Industry na
wala tayong government continuity program. Wala.
Just as an aside. Yung sa Japan merong the most powerful person is the head of the meeting. So 3 decades sa taas, he's the guy who decided na we will focus on shipbuilding and auto industry under yung strategy of steel industry, yung doon tayo may competitive advantage. So this guy, kahit na yung LDP papalit-palit ng Prime Minister every 6 months, every year, every 3 months, may naging ganun eh. Pero the same guy, nagpapatago ng MITI, Ministry of Trade Industry, same guy for 3 decades. And this guy is a career, diba, technocrat. So sa kanya is under yung kanya yung lahat ng everything like Department of Education, lahat ng departments. So kanya like for instance, Ministry of Trade is the overall under yung finance niya, under lahat. And so mag-decide for the next 10 years we need this many engineers, we need this many workers, we need meron ganun. So we never had that. So going back to my point, hindi natin naranasan yung industrialization. So from agricultural, we jumped to service sector. Pero without addressing yung basic ng how do you transition, kasi parang pinabayaan natin yung agriculture, di ba? Kasi okay, OFW base, let's earn dollars, let's send OFWs, and then what do we have now? We have the BPO, which was also dollar earning now, pero what happened to the agricultural sector now? We're importing, we have for a decade now, we've been importing food from Vietnam, no, Thailand. Without those two, parang gutom tayo. Ngayon wala na.
Wala na. Explain mo yung kanina pinag-usapan natin that they are tightening their belt and restricting export.
Yes.
Oh, why? Why?
Bakit, diba? Kasi for them.
Even China, ha?
Even China, di ba? Kasi with everything that's been going on, with the Hormuz and everything, petro yan. Petrochemical industry yan. Kailanganin mo yung petrochemicals mo for your own. That's since nalilimit yung supply ng petrochemical, ano pa kaya alam mo sa kumita ka ng pera by exporting? Exporting is to earn money.
Tama.
Diba? And anong purpose ng money kung inflationary yung global economy? So talo ka sa logistics. Mahal pa yung petrochemical. So if you were Vietnam, if you were Thailand, if you were China, of course, pagka mag-i-export ng petrol,
tama.
For what? For money?
Tama.
I'll keep the petrol, I'll keep the pesticides, I'll keep the for myself. Yung pera sa inyo na yan. So, di ba? So, what will happen to a country like the Philippines na walang agricultural sector na not big enough to support 130 million people?
Patay.
Magkakagulo.
Ngayon, what is the opportunity ngayon? Ito doon na tayo sa opportunity. Hindi, yung
opportunity ba?
Hindi opportunity. Yung prepping na about
prepping.
You were explaining about money and money may not have value.
Couple of months. Ngayon pala nakita ko na yung value ng money mo nakalahati na. If this amount of money bought you a liter of diesel a few months ago, nakalahati yung value ng pera mo. Yun na yun.
Yan na yun.
Yun na yun, di ba?
Yun
Yung pera mo, lahat ng savings mo nangalahati. So how do you prepare for that? Wala. Diba? You use your money. Prepping na lang talaga.
Now, how do you prep?
Kasi in the next few months, yung magkakalahati pa yan. Diba? Because everything that's nasa iyo na yan, kung maniniwala ka sa figures na sinasabi ng gobyerno na we have this much fuel for the next ganito until the next month. Ako as a person, hindi lang talaga naniniwala na we have that much supply, no? And then even if we did, no, the bigger concern is yung announcement na hindi sila magpapadala ng pagkain, and we cannot just tell the BPO people magtanim kayo, diba? Yung mga anak ng mga farmers na nag-BPO na ngayon, balik na kayo sa tatay niyo, magpaturo kayo paano mag-farming. Kasi for one thing, binenta yung mga lupa, ari-arian. Napadala sila sa college. No? So it's irreversible.
So now, how do you prep finance if biglang na-realize mo ganun ang situation? How do you now prep by turning money into some other value?
Some other value. So
Okay,
I met you December
Oo.
of 2000, mga December, January of 2020. December 2024, January. Tapos tuloy-tuloy nag-uusap. I told you na I'm going to try to not build, join a community.
Tama.
Diba? Join a community. Kasi based sa experience ko sa New Zealand, yung mga intentional communities and New Zealand as a whole will survive anything, diba?
Tama.
And napag-usapan natin that there are pockets of, there will be areas in the Philippines na naturally may tubig, may lupa, na similar to New Zealand, konti yung tao, and yet they're exporting not service, but they're exporting agriculture.
Tama.
Diba? So meron mga area sa Philippines na agricultural pa, although hindi pa permaculture, diba?
Pero easy to transition.
Easy to transition. Pero meron talaga, diba? I told you,
Oh.
When we met nung December na I'm going to seek out yung permaculture. I found some. Of course, sinabi ko rin sa'yo saan. Yung mga indigenous na pinakyat ko.
Yes.
Diba? Yung nakita mo na talagang
Ano
for the most part, yung tubig talaga, we were drinking.
without saying where your bag out location, what are the indicators that this location, di ba napag-usapan natin, pero napatunayan mo, look, sarili mo. What are the indicators or checklist na among the different several places that I consider where I can locate, what are the indicators of survivability for the collapse?
Balik, meron akong sa thought.
Sige.
May tanong ako, may sabihin ako. Yung community na pinunong noong December, you have all the photos.
Tama.
Pwede ko ibigay ulit.
Sige.
Ano yung sinabi ko? Yung nagsabi sa akin was, yung mga Chinese businessmen ng city na yon during World War II, doon sila tumakbo.
Tama.
It was high up in the mountains,
Yes.
na puro tubig na, pinakita ko sa video, we were getting water from the stream,
Yes.
Tapos may diba?
Yes, tama.
Maraming fruit crops.
Yeah.
Papadala lang sila sa baba. Yung town, so-called town, is an hour away. Pero pababa.
Insert ko lang sa study ng mga yung every time nagkakaroon ng collapse o kaya yung mga every time kasi nagko-collapse nagkakaroon ng small townships ang pinaka-secure laging bundok. Malapit sa bundok or bundok.
Correct.
Game.
Malapit sa tubig na.
Malapit sa headwaters. Sige. Game.
So I have the photos. I shared them with you. Nakita mo sobrang payak, walang electricity,
Sige.
maraming saging,
Sige.
maraming abaka, maraming coconut yung area na yun,
Yes.
maraming root crops, diba? Nakita mo naman, diba? Sagana, may mga river fish. And I showed you na we were drinking water from the stream.
Yes.
Tapos yung ito, babalik ko,
Yeah.
I told you, ang unang, and I confirmed, na hanggang ngayon may mga Chinese blood doon kasi may after World War II may mga nakabuntis.
Tama.
So, Chinese yung mga family names sila.
Tama.
Dito sa Pilipinas, they intermingled with a IP community.
And they
IP community.
adopted the IP culture.
IP culture. Naging IP sila.
Game. Sige.
So, yun. So, there's a community na ganun. So, yun yung extreme, no?
Sige.
So, when I saw that, I thought na pwede, I could do this, no? Pero it would be a big adjustment. So, naghanap pa ako ng something more akin to my, siguro, yung experience.
Tama.
Di ba, which is yung meron pa rin kahit paano may mga basic services like hospitals na mas malapit-lapit, di ba, mga groceries, things like that. So I found a place na similar sa sinasabi mong place. It's an agricultural economy.
Yes.
Wala na isang tao na nabubuhay sa service economy. Walang nag-work from home na virtual assistant. Wala. Everybody's either a fisherman or a rice farmer or selling root crops or selling yung area na yun, marami kasing isda, so marami nagtatanim ng loya, marami nagtatanim ng sibuyas, ng ano pa ba yung kasama niyang pipino, pare, kasi it's a fishing
and in
community. And in fact it's a rice granary nung area na
in fact, to point out, because article came out regarding the parallel economy of the Cordilleras. It was pointed out na yung mga ganon, pag nag-collapse, parang hindi rin nila mapapansin yung collapse.
Possible.
Di ba? Kasi na sila anong tawag doon? Intact na yung way of life nila
Correct.
Go ahead. Sige.
So, I think the most, the most na problema would be yung fuel kasi kailangan nila sa pump boats to get fish. Pero pare, I confirmed na yung area na yun does not require this.
Okay
so,
na.
Hindi siya ganun kasira na they can paddle out or they can fish from the they can net from the shore.
Tama.
And this community I found is rice, ang isa sa maganda nito, it remained largely underdeveloped in a sense.
Tama.
Kasi until very recently walang kalsada kasi it was infested by NPAs.
Tama.
So it was never a destination for investments.
Galing.
So it's konti yung mga tao. So until I was siguro mga I knew about this area 20 years ago. Hindi ako makapasok dyan. Like yung family, even siguro posible but yung family ko will never go there.
Tama.
Kahit alam namin may magandang waterfalls, may magandang beach, we will never go there and take the risk kasi may mga checkpoint ng NPA.
Tama.
Diba? So bakit ka mag-risk?
Tama.
Malamang papadaanin ka naman mga yun. Pero yung takot mo lang sa NPA. Pero actually, marami namang merong dumadaan wala naman nangyari sa
Hindi,
kanila.
ito
Pero
important.
anyway, so that
Yeah.
the presence of NPA
Yes.
preserved nature pretty much.
Ngayon.
Hindi nakapasok yung lagging. So the headwaters was preserved.
Yeah.
Ano, di ba, hindi nakapasok yung commercial economy so much. No?
And can I also ask para kasi your proof of the theory ano tawag doon? Isang tabi muna natin yung branding na NPA sila. Yung one indicator, 'di ba, we were discussing is intact pa rin yung normative culture, which is the bayanihan culture. Kumusta doon?
Pinakita ko sa'yo.
Ayan,
Di
game.
ba, I have the video kasi I bought a property last February. Di ba, January nag-usap tayo, I was telling you, December naghahanap na. I found one in February. That's the advantage of having savings, no?
Tama.
Kasi I was I'm also not afraid to get rid of my savings kasi nakikita man yung savings ko nawawalan ng value. every single day. So I might as well, di ba, na babaan ko na yung mga savings ko and convert it to something that will be productive or useful in the coming months or years. So I found my place, no? It's a 1,000 square na beside the rice field. Tapos nasa dagat. And since surfer ako, meron parang good enough na surfer.
Yeah.
Nakita ang pictures white. Tapos sa likod ko lang bundok ng dagat. No? So yung bundok na yan, that's largely coconut.
Tama.
So sa coconut, besides coconut, largely banana. So,
Yan.
hint na kayo.
Galing.
So yung for one thing, nagustuhan ko about what I found out is that both bananas and coconut do not require much input.
Yes, tama.
Di ba? Hindi siya like yung rice field na kailangan ng fertilizers.
Yes.
And since hindi to pinasok ng mga traders ng bigas, the rice na napoproduce na is mostly hindi na export sa other parang kanila lang.
How did you successfully integrate, knowing, di ba, situation, di ba, sabi mo, most people natatakot sila pumasok sa ganung
Well, by
community.
now hindi na.
How did you successfully advise mo sa mga how did you successfully integrate yourself and made yourself useful to the community?
Well, di ba?
Tsaka yung mindset na yung important to have.
Okay, so I showed you the photos. I ended up building wala na, patapos na. Mabilis, 2 months ako nakatutok. I built a parang din, kubo, parang kasi sa 1,000 square I built a 8 meter by 6 meter.
Adjust lang ako sa ilaw
Pero pag nag-ano ka, papakita mo yung mga photos ng ginawa
Sige.
I started February lang. So patapos na ako ngayon. What I did was that nag-hire ko ng 5 skill na karpintero, yung mga all around, and then 5 labor. And just so happened, swerte ako, within my pool ng workers, may 2 pastor, di ba?
Okay.
And then these guys, more than us sa syudad, more than the normal people sa syudad, they are very much attuned to yung nangyayari sa weather pattern. Sasabi nila, uy, mukhang magkakaproblema tayo sa ulan next season, mukhang nag-iba. And they're also, sa mga ganitong communities, they're very much aware of yung El Nino.
Yes.
So mas takot pa sila sa El Nino kaysa sa Iran, di ba, sa mga Hormuz. Takot sila sa gasolina pero they don't need much para magbangkay. Fishing village din siya, saka hindi sila aware pa ano yung impact ng Iran, Hormuz, saka besides the fact na tataas yung gasolina.
Yes.
They're more takot na ano kasi siya kahit pa paano dependent pa rin sa ulan.
Yes.
Hindi siya ganun ka yung rice field niya hindi well irrigated
Tama.
Although may headwaters kasi nga hindi naman pinasok ng gobyerno for the longest time dahil nga NPA infested siya. Rain dependent pa rin yung farming. In fact, maraming upland rice varieties na kino-cultivate. So hindi develop yung irrigation ng bigas. Itim yung lupa. Hindi pa sila hindi rin sila dependent masyado sa fertilizers, no? So hindi na naintindihan yun. What they're more concerned about is yung upcoming super El Nino. But then, kung kasi marami pang matatanda na nabubuhay who experienced sabi na something similar in the 80s. Sabi what they did was they shifted to kamote back then and they will just shift to kamote now. Kasi hindi masyadong water matakaw yung kamote.
So, would you say na yung matatanda doon, intact pa rin yung technically tinatawag natin indigenous permaculture, the old ways?
The old ways.
Tama.
Yeah, you know, in many ways, it's
Yeah.
still indigenous. Yung mga tao naman are mga tumandok, they call themselves. Well, they're not considered indigenous, pero they've been there for
Yeah.
for 2 generations na. So these are people who then and now agriculture. So mas ramdam nila yung panahon. So, mas nagpapanik sila doon. Nakikita ko I left Manila 2 months ago to focus on that. Focus on that. Alam mo yun. And then I've been keeping you updated, diba? Yung photos from the moment I started measuring until now. No? So and now that I'm trying to integrate, not build a community, just integrate myself to an agricultural economy na may existing na church-based na parang community. So going to that, I'm not religious, I don't believe so much sa mga ganito. No? Pero dito nagkikita-kita yung idea of collapse natin, and then in their terms, nakikita nila as biblical na possible na maging ito yung sinasabi ng apocalypse.
Apocalypse.
These are not the Catholic churches. Ito yung mga fringe denominations na very biblical yung
yung mga milyonarya na yan.
yung kanilang,
mga provincial na yan.
Rural,
Rural, oo.
So nakikinig sila to, lalo na tayo may education tayo. Coming from nakikita na din sa nagko-converge yung sinasabi ko na nangyayari, in-explain ko itong ibig sabihin ng Iran, ito yung ibig sabihin ng petrochemicals na mai-impact kayo hindi lang sa fuel but because of pesticide, is petrochemical, because fertilizer, yung pagdala niyan dito, that's logistics. So napuput together nila, and then they possibly related to yung biblical na apocalypse.
Pare siguro ganito, kasi na to, 21 minutes.
Sige, i-edit
Edit mo, final pare, final thought. Kasi medyo exciting din yung ginagawa mo, sa totoo lang
hindi siya exciting, na panic siya.
Panic.
Exciting na panic
Anyway, so anong tawag doon? Ano ang sabi mo, matagal kang di bumalik. Finally, pagbalik mo, nakita mo yung markers of collapse. Ano yun, nakita mo?
Before naman, diba? Before I left, this was early February. Mga early February, so hindi lang February, March, April. Pare, hindi 3 months na pala ako nawawala.
Tama.
Tama, if you remember. Pare, 3 months ako.
Yes.
Kasi I bought the property Feb. I started building late Feb. Hindi na ako nakabalik. So, before pa yun, when I left, wala pa yung Iran. Hindi pa nangyari. The gas prices were still going up, pero nothing alarming na. And then, while I was there, ayun na, yung Iran. I was not here. Hindi ko doon may panic din, pero since hindi naman masyado industrialized, di ba, yung mga tao wala naman masyado, yung fuel nila is only for ikot-ikot lang, punta sa pangisda, hindi mo makita yung pila-pila, yung mga gano'n.
Yes.
So pagbalik ko dito kanina, I flew in last night, I'm going back out again tomorrow. Nakita ko yung mga pila sa gasolina, which is to me parang nakita ko lang sa news,
Tama.
Sa Facebook, sa mga feeds, sa social media feeds. Ngayon nakita ko actually na although may so-called ceasefire, nakita ko andyan pa rin, na the prices of fuel is also an indication na wala ng supply. Wala ng supply. So which means I don't trust the numbers of how much reserves we actually have. So yung panic mode ko lalong tumaas, nag-heighten lalong yung ko. So what did I do? Ito na siguro I just So ngayon, I came here trying to dispose a lot of my assets. So I spoke to a real estate, and I scheduled to speak tomorrow to a real estate realtor. So bibenta ko yung bahay ko, I'm selling my condo. I have 4 cars I'm selling kasi I bought a car there, I bought a motorcycle there, so I'm selling my motorcycles. I'm selling for I think I have for 5 of my cars I'm selling. So I'm selling everything pretty much. And then anong gagawin ko sa pera? I'll buy more land there.
Tama.
I'll buy more land. Pero hindi naman siya ganun ka-importante for now yung land, because it so happen na yung binilhan ko ng land na 1,000 square body for 2.5 M kasi ano siya white sand siya.
Nice.
So it's a beautiful property. Pero yung sa likod ko, yung may-ari, meron siyang 40 hectares of coconut. Matanda na siya, he's in his 70s. And he's also, medyo hindi masyado educated, so he listens to, he asks for ano yung take ko, ano yung nangyayari, what could possibly happen. And then sinasabi ko na ito yung tingin ko. I could be wrong, but ito yung tingin ko. And I approached him, you have 40 hectares na coconut, merong mga iba pa na medyo bakante, maganda yung lupa. Sabi niya, hindi naman yung mga anak, hindi masyado interested. Sabi niya, gamitin mo lang.
Maraming idle land niya. Maraming idle land.
Sabi niya, gamitin mo lang kung ano ka na. And then, bigyan mo lang ako ng kung magtatanim ka ng something, kung may harvest ka, bigyan mo lang ako. Walang arkila, walang natin, kasi idle lang naman eh. May tubig, di ba? So yun ang ito yung maganda.
Sa milyar pa lang titipid siya dahil ginagamit eh.
Magugulay man ako. Kasi
may idle land tax kasi.
Kasi may coconut na siya, may bananas na siya.
Meron na.
So hindi na siya magugutuman kahit ano. And then wala pa siyang kamote. Sabi ko, what if magtanim ako ng kamote? Magpatanim ako sa mga tao na yung people who are working. 10 people na working, 5 skilled, 5 na hindi naman sila talaga mga karpintero eh. Kasi ang pinagawa ko naman is nipa lang na bahay, nipa lang. Just pinalumaki kasi hindi ako marunong mag-measure. First time ko lang din. So bigla siyang lumaki, biglang dumami yung labor force ko. Kasi I'm in a hurry. So the same people, open sila sa idea na they'll do labor work for me to cultivate the yung vacant property sa kamote. Diba? Na sabi na nga sa akin, sir, hindi pa, it's not the right time. There's a right time to plant, gano'n. Pero ngayon, nagpapaano naman ng slips, diba? And
tama.
then, alam mo na yung background ng microfinance. Meron na akong scheme. Pag naglipat na ako, may mga freezers na ako. Nakita mo naman yung video pictures na taga.
Yes,
meron akong smoker.
Galing.
So, sabi ko yung smoker ko is to, when I catch fish, is to smoke ko dun sa smoker. Kasi ready na ako for a LPG free world eh. Kasi daming fuel eh, daming nawawash up na mga kahoy sa dagat, ang dami kong coconut na husk. Ang dami talagang coconut sa area na yun. And so hindi ako mauubusan ng fuel for smoking and for cooking.
Galing.
For energy, kumbaga. And then, so madami isda. Since di pa siya overfish kasi wala masyado siyang linkage to, walang buyers from the city eh.
Tama.
Kasi malayo masyado.
Malayo masyado.
And then, so yung fishing nila is, hindi pa yung wala pa masyadong mga bangka. Meron, pero kaya hindi lumayo eh. Kasi yung fishing nila is more of pang local economy. Walang bumibili from, hindi naman siya malaking yung konti kasi tao. So wala ding pupunta to get all the fish.
Para lobat na. So last.
So pretty much sa local base economy, kahit yung fishing and everything. So yun yung community na I'm trying to not build. So just trying to be part.
Integrator. Okay, sige.
So yun yung strategy ko. So through microfinance, nagpapautang ako. Sabi ko, hindi nyo mabayaran ng pera, kamuti, tatanggapin.
Galing.
So, tatanggap ako ng ambaw, yung rats na madami doon na kumakain ng coconut, kumakain ng saging, pest.
Edible yun eh.
Edible yun. Kumakain ako ng tabukid nun ako originally. Sabi ko, I'll buy yung ambaw. Kung yung may utang kayong 2,000, bayaran niya ako yung ambaw na dala kayo ng 10 kilo, bawas natin. Kasi isa-smoke ko yan. So, yung sa akin naman is, it's very much, I'm not trying to build a community, I'm just trying to be part of that community. Para kung if things go south,
yun na yan. Alam ang final word ko is, without you saying it, yung premise natin sa Barganian Collective, you're actually embodying it. Without you knowing it, ang ginagawa mo, bumabalik ka sa kultura.
I think so, yeah.
Diba?
Yung indigenous na permaculture.
Yeah, pati, tama.
It's very selfish. Yung motivation is very selfish. It's very survival based.
It's enlightened self-interest.
I don't know.
Siguro.
I think so, yeah.
Anyway, thank you. Tapos, yung paalam mo ko sa'yo, yung mga pictures you're telling them where, we'll show it. Para may patotoo.
Add ko lang. Whatever you're doing, since if people believe may value yung ginagawa mo, tell them na yung pera nila will no longer have as the same value tomorrow than it has today and so on and so forth. So in a couple of months, yung may hawak nilang pera, savings na nawawala na ng value. So kung may ginagawa kang service for people, make sure na they commit to you kasi kailangan mo rin ng pera eh. Make sure na if you're talking to people, bigyan ka lang ng shelter or bigyan ka ng pera panggawa ng shelter mo, panggawa ng water system mo, panggawa ng like what I have. Diba?
Yeah.
Like, make sure na you have that para sa family mo. Meron kang roof over your head. you have a water system, you have a food system.
Yeah.
Di ba meron kang solar energy system. Now I have a genset. I'm installing a solar system kasi I have here. I'll
Yeah.
bring it there na lang. No? So, ikaw, just a friend, no? That's talking to a friend na if you're talking to people, tell them to, kung may value ka sa kanila, tutulungan mo sila, it should help you get paid. Kasi you need
Yeah.
money na. And that money, huwag mo ilagay sa bangko. It will faster than ever. It will mawawalan. Just buy something.
I'm doing it now. Oo. I'm doing it now. Ang pinakauna nag-support sa akin talaga si Attorney Sari.
Oo, pare.
Paying me good cash that I'm using to upgrade my madilim na eh.
Pare,
Sige.
you really have to
Sige.
move out of here, build a kubo, build a roof over your head, build a hand pump, build a stove na hindi LPG based. Make sure na meron ka ng investment sa lupa.
Sige pare.
Sige,
Thank you.
Gamitin mo.
Oo.
You have,
Sige, thank you.